Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. For those who don't know me, my name is Jorge Cruz. I'm Board Secretary for the Verona Board of Ed. Tonight's very exciting. This is the Verona Board of Ed reorganization meeting. So we're going to get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So with our election results, I'm going to read out the results. We have Diana Ferraro with 3,216 votes, followed by Denise Berzella with 1,863 votes. Then Aaron Spiegelman with 1,674 votes, Sarah Drappy with 1,349 votes, and Michael Boone with 1,376 votes. So we would like to formally congratulate and swear in our two new board members, who is Mrs. Ferrara and Mrs. Berzella. So at this time, I'm just going to invite Mrs. Ferrara to meet me by the podium, and we're going to do the swearing. Ask you to raise your hand.
Maybe I had my hand on a budget.
Raise your right hand. And you're going to say, I state your name.
I, Diana Ferreira,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the government established in the United States
and to the government established in the United States
and this state,
and this state,
under the authority of the people, so help me God.
under the authority of the people, so help me God.
I state your name.
I, Diana Ferreira,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by the law
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by the law
for the office of member of the Board of Education,
for the office of member of the Board of Education,
and I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform all duties
and justly perform all duties
of that office according to the best of my ability.
of that office according to the best of my
So help
ability.
me God.
So help me God.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Photo.
I should give it to you.
I don't want to keep going through your phone.
Thank you so much. Take yours.
So Denise, Ms. Berzella.
Yes.
So raise the right hand. And just repeat after me. So I state your name.
I, Denise Berzella,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the government established in the United States
and to the government established in the United States
and this state under the authority of the people.
and this state under the authority of the
So
people.
help me God.
So help me God.
I state your name.
I, Denise Berzella,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess the qualification prescribed by the law for the office member of the Board of Education,
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by the law for the office of member of the Board of Education,
and I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform all duties
and justly perform all duties
of that office according to the best of my ability. So help me God.
of that office according to the best of my abilities. So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
So congratulations once again. And I'm going to start with reading the meeting notice. This meeting is being conducted in compliance with the open meeting session that the Verona Board of Ed passed a resolution at its annual reorganization meeting held on January 3rd, 2023. The meeting is set forth the schedule of its regular meeting, which resolution was 7 days of passage. The schedule was sent to the Verona Cedar Grove Times and Star Ledger, the Verona Township, the Township of Verona, and the VEA. Posting for this meeting setting forth time, location, agenda were posted on the Board of Ed office and also the Verona Public Schools district website. Copies of tonight's agenda and resolution has been made available to the public and the press. So start with the roll call. Mr. Walker,
Present.
Mrs. Farrar, Mrs. Frizella,
Present.
Mrs. Prisco,
Here.
Mrs. Freshen.
Here.
We have quorum. Thank you. Next, we will nominate our board president for 2023. Do you have a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Prisco.
I have a motion. So I need someone to motion and then a second.
I will motion.
I'll second.
So Frizella's motion and Farrar will second. Thank you. So next we have, actually at this time, so we're going to move it over to the president.
So
So
you would ask if there's any other nominations, and then if not, then we would vote on president, and then once we vote on president,
okay. Is there any other nomination for board president? Okay. All right. So at this time, I'll
we need to
hand it
vote.
over to.
We need to vote.
Oh, so it's, everyone has to vote. Okay, so we're going to do a vote call for electing Mrs. Prisco as board president. So Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mrs. Frizella,
Yes.
Mrs. Prisco,
Yes. You should have said no.
Mrs. Bernard.
Absolutely, yes.
All right, we have quorum. Thank you.
Now you take it over. Show's yours. Congrats.
Thank you, everyone. I'm very humbled by this. I really appreciate the nomination, Chris, and thank you for all the vote yeses. So I am honored and I will do my best. I will do the best for Verona. I promise you. So, okay, I guess, let me see. Hold on, go to the page. I'm like shaking. Okay, so now, is there anyone that has a nomination for the Board of Ed Vice President?
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Ferrera.
Are there any other nominations? Seeing none. Mr. Cruz, can you call a vote? Is that how it's done? Am I doing it right?
So we need a
Oh, we need a
motion.
motion to approve in a second. I'll motion to approve. Diana,
Second,
and then I need a roll call. Anyone discussion or comments or? Mr. Cruz?
Yeah.
Can you do the roll call or the vote, whatever?
So the motion has to be another board member. So I would need,
So I motion and then who wants to second? Some,
I second the motion.
okay. Thank you. Mr. Walker, Ms. Farrar,
yes.
Mrs. Frizell. Mrs. Prisco
yes.
and Mrs. Freshy.
Yes.
All right, we have quorum. Motion passed.
Congratulations. Okay, so moving on with the agenda, it's up to our superintendent report. So Mrs. Di Giuseppe.
And Happy New Year to everyone. I know we had a wonderful time in my family. I hope it was as wonderful for everyone. I don't have a lot to say right now. I just want to really start out by saying the end of December was unbelievable with regard to our student performances. It was my first time really seeing our kids perform. And from what our littlest band and choir chorus kids did at Brookdale and FN. Unfortunately, I missed Forest and Lanning as I had out of district obligations, to what our students showed they can do at the high school was just amazing. And it shows what our students can do, what our Verona music parents do to support our students, and what our band and choir directors do to get our kids ready to perform. I'm thinking about the fourth grade kids that are just probably picked up the instrument for the first time in September, most likely. And what Mr. Morden does with regard to getting our little ones up and doing solos, I was just blown away. So more reasons to be very happy to be a part of this community. So with regard to congratulations to Mrs. Farrar and Mrs. Berzella. And I'm going to give you your first gift. So this was this was what we used to give to board members. It's going to be electronic and it's just about done. So I'm going to send it out to everyone tonight. It's all done. There's 3 documents, and one document's got a table of contents that's linkable and a bunch of links. So peruse it. If you have questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. I know Mr. Cruz will, Mrs. Fresky, Mrs. Prisco, Mr. Waka will be more than happy to help you navigate, because it's the same information is pretty much in there, just not in, where you could get strong muscles using it. And as I come across things that I think the board should have access to, I'll put them into, it's a board share drive. So right now it's called the board information folder, but we can add new folders so that we can share things among the board that we need to. Just one other update that we're looking to make a change for our agenda right now for both the public and the board. When I'll give you an example for the board secretary report. Right now, it is listed as something that we're going to approve. And if a staff member or a board member or a community member wants to go and read that board secretary report, they have to go back to a folder, locate it, open it up and make sure they have the right, because there's a lot of, especially in the finance folder, there's a lot of information. So we're going to begin linking right into the body of the document. So it's all there for everyone, just making it a little easier. So bear with me as we get our administrative staff trained on what that's going to look like. But it's all about, making things as easy and as accessible to our community as possible. So that is with regard to the board. And so we're gearing up for the second half of the year. I can't believe I'm saying that. It really is. This is really, the year is going very quickly, very quickly. So we're looking forward to getting our strategic plan started. We're looking forward to, I did not receive the contract yet for the strategic planning and for the, I have a quote, but not a contract from the gentleman for strategic, I'm sorry, I can't think of the name of the company right now, the demographic study. So that will be on our next agenda. But we will have that in place, and we'll also be working as quickly as we can with Rutgers University to get our climate study survey up and running for parents, students, and staff. And just one more update with regard to staffing. You'll see on the agenda, one of our administrative positions that was open because unfortunately, I saw her come in, Mrs. Venezia is, she's got to come back on the 24th too, because we'll be doing a proclamation for her as well. Big shoes, big shoes to fill, but we are appointing someone this evening to fill that position. We have second round interviews tomorrow for director of facility, tomorrow and Thursday.
Great.
And then we had second round interviews for the HR specialist this evening. So we're looking at hopefully having everything filled quickly, as soon as hopefully by the January 24th meeting. So that's my report for this evening. Thank you.
One question, which of the demographic study companies did you end up choosing to go with?
Strategic,
There was one there was like two.
the more
different-
robust.
The more robust one, very
Yeah.
good. Thank you.
And that's what we're voting on tonight.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
tonight. Is
not-
it on
Oh,
here?
it's on
Oh,
here
did she put
tonight.
it on there? She did. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't have the contract yet, so I wasn't sure whether we should actually vote on it. I guess we can sign the contracts next.
Yeah, it's under finance number
Finance.
2.
Okay.
Wait,
Okay, great.
there we go.
Welcome, Reese.
Been a couple of meetings since I've been in, but for the demographic survey, what sort of data are they looking at? Just student population in the registry, or?
That's a great question. They're going to do several different things. They're going to start with looking at, well, we're actually having two different things done. We're looking at residency, which is completely separate, to make sure that everyone that's attending school here is either a resident of Verona or paying tuition. So, but this demographic study is really going to look at the breakdown of where people live and looking at whether or not we can alleviate some of the overcrowding that we're experiencing at some of the schools. And at one of our schools, we have enough room that we have a preschool we're renting to. So, and that doesn't necessarily, I'm going to use the R word that no one wants to hear, redistricting, because we also have special programs at different schools that may not need to be at those schools, right? We have our ESL program is at one of our schools. We might be able to break that up. The numbers look like we're going to need to have to hire a second ESL teacher anyway. So perhaps it's time to say that should be broken out among, you can stay at your home school. And this is just thinking out loud. You can stay at your home school and still be in our English language services program, because right now to be in our ESL program, you have to go from your home district, your home school to FM Brown. Not every parent wants to make that change. They want to stay in their neighborhood schools. And as a result, we have about a third of our students that are eligible for English language services that turn us down. So I think we can improve the services that we provide and distribute the students more equitably. They're also looking at the impact of the two or three new high-rise apart. Is it 2 or 3? 2.
I lost track.
Two.
Yeah, 2.
Two new apartment complexes on what that will do with regard to the crowding in our schools. So that's primarily what they're going to do. And then they're going to make a data map for us where right now we have boundaries, at least for like if you live on these streets to these streets, you're going to go to Forest. If you live on these streets to these streets, you're going to live on Lanning. But we don't in the district have a map where you can look at it with pinpoints as to where every household is and how many students are in each household, what ages, so we can make better predictions about how to staff our schools, how to provide resources to our schools. So it's about being more fiscally responsible and efficient in terms of our staffing and our providing services for students.
Hey, thank you very much.
Welcome.
A follow up with that. So I think in the past, we had talked about, I don't know if we went through with this or not, but we talked about how because we got so many emails about kindergartening and the potential for kindergartening overcrowding, where we were looking to say if you don't register by a certain date, then you're just going to have to go to the kindergarten that has the room. Did we end up?
We did.
We did, perfect.
We voted for second reading last month on that.
Very good.
policy.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's February 1st.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions for Mrs. Di Giuseppe? Okay, so next on our agenda is our student representative report. So Ms. Shahado.
Thanks. So short one for me tonight. I'm a little bit out of the loop coming back after a long break, but so first off, thank you to Daniel Franklock. He filled in for me last time. I hear you did a great job. I still need to go over the tape myself, but I've heard nothing but good things. And just a couple of quick student council things. They concluded their annual toy drive last month. Gifts were delivered to Hawkins Street Elementary School in Newark on December 20th. And just another little thing, pep rally on December 23rd. That was a half day, so little time was carved out for student activities that day. And break ended today. All students are back in school and just starting up again right now. And that's it for me today.
Reese, thank you for coming to our meeting after a 20-hour flight. That's
Yeah,
dedication we go learn from.
Dedication. That is dedication.
I just have a question. The last meeting, there was talk about the student council dance. Is that going forward, or is there any more information on that, or do you not know yet?
I need to check back in, but from what I know, it is going forward. It's in
Great.
its planning stages, and it will not be as much of a endeavor as prom, we'll put it that way.
Right.
So it'll most likely be at the high school, most likely be smaller around February.
Perfect. Thank you.
Reese, I would love to have a conversation with you and the student council about some activities that are really positive. That, for instance, we did an intergenerational prom, both when I was in Livingston and when I was in Kinnelon. That was a huge success with the seniors in the area and our juniors and seniors. It's phenomenal. And the staff comes out and they serve, and we get donations for food. And the other thing that I'd love to talk to the student council about, now that we have such an active participant on the board, is doing dinner theater. So for the last dress rehearsal of the musical, we would serve coffee and to the seniors in the community, and they would come and watch the dress rehearsal. So like dinner theater. So if we'll make a date to talk to you and the student council about possibly setting something like that up.
That sounds fantastic, and like not only community outreach, but also fundraising ability and stuff like that for the school and for charity and organizations. So I'd love to talk with you more about
Great,
that and
thank
get the
you.
council involved.
Thank you. Next up on the agenda is our committee reports, but we are just forming our new committees, so none of us have met to do any reports. So I guess if there's any discussion on the committees that are formed that we've agreed to hopefully be on, if everyone is okay with them. Yeah, okay. And then next on the agenda is public comments on agenda action items only. So anything that we're going to be voting on tonight, if you have any comments, please come forward. Seeing none. And then any discussion items for anyone. Does anyone have anything?
Just want to welcome our new special services hire for tonight. So congratulations and good luck.
Yes. Yes. Yes, congratulations to Laura. Let me just see if Kohler. So congratulations to you. Welcome to Verona. And also congratulations to Denise and Diane. So thank you. Welcome aboard. It's going to be fun. Good time. Anyone else for discussion items? Okay. So we need wait, let's see if I can do this. Roll call for resolution number 1. I need a motion to approve resolution number 1.
I motion to approve resolution number 1.
Seconded by,
Second it.
thank you. And then any discussion? Mr. Cruz, can you call a roll call?
Sure. Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Farrar, Mrs. Frizella,
Yes.
Mrs. Prisco,
Yes,
Mrs. Freshy.
Yes.
We have quorum, motion moved.
thank you. And we are on to resolution number 2 for the board renewal resolutions for the committees. Do I have a motion to accept resolution number 2?
I put forth a motion to accept resolution number 2.
Thank you. In a second? Second? Need a roll call?
Discussion.
Oh, discussion. Thank you. Any discussion? Okay. Mr. Cruz, if you could call roll call.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Farrar, Mrs. Frizella, Mrs. Prisco,
Yes,
Mrs. Freshy.
Yes.
We have quorum, motion moved.
thank you. On to resolution number 3 to approve resolutions number 1 through 1.4. I need a motion to accept resolutions 1 through 1.4.
Second.
Okay, motion was approved by Mrs. Brazella, seconded by Mrs. Freshy. Any discussion? Roll call. I'm getting it now.
Mr. Walker,
Good job, Pam. Yes.
Mrs. Prisco,
Yes.
Mrs. Frizella, Mrs. Farrar,
Yes.
Mrs. Freshy.
Yes.
We have quorum, motion moved. Thank you.
Okay, next, we're going to approve the education resolutions. So resolutions number 1 through 1.4. No. 1.1. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, it's on the next. Okay, sorry, just resolution 1.1. Motion to accept resolution 1.1.
A motion.
Motion by Mrs. Freshy. I need a second. Second. Second by Mrs. Ferrera. Any discussion?
For this. So in past practice, when textbooks are introduced, what types of supports are rolled out for the teachers? I was looking, I'm just kind of curious.
You mean for like teacher additions,
Yeah, so this
online
was-
resources?
Yeah, so and just kind of, I was looking through and I see this is a new edition. Is this a book that was already in school and then it's just kind of a new edition because they came out with it?
I don't think so. And I apologize for not having the answer to
That's
that.
okay.
Real quick, that's
Yeah.
Actually from my history class.
Oh,
I was
good.
thinking
That's
about
great.
it. So it would, for this class, we would be using it instead of a previous
Yeah.
text.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's in.
It's a better textbook.
That
Yeah.
it seemed like a great book. And my question was, it seems like it lends itself to some good conversation.
Discussion.
And discussion
Yeah.
in class. And my question is, to following that up, what types of supports are planned? Do we have anything planned to support teachers in supporting students and having
In
the
general,
conversations? Well, in general,
In
but
general.
I'm speaking specifically just to this.
to this textbook?
Yeah, so it is in general, but I'm
Yeah,
asking
in
it.
general, we negotiate with our manufacturers to get as much teacher resource materials as we can when we buy a new textbook. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. 'Cause with AP books, they're usually college books.
Right.
So chances are there aren't as many resources, but
I mean, I
don't
would
know the
imagine
answer to that
whoever's
question.
teaching the AP classes is seasoned
Yeah.
teacher, yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
just curious as to what that usually looks like.
And they're really the drivers of those purchases. So they're going to pick the book that's going to support their course and what they're doing in class. But specifically, I apologize, I
No,
can't
that's-
say for
I
this
was just curious.
particular
Yeah,
book.
okay, thank you.
And it's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when something, AP courses and the teachers for AP are able to go for training to learn the
Oh, yes,
material
yes.
and turnkey that
Yes.
to instruct the
To
students.
ensure, right, aside from just the
Yeah, correct,
the
because it's a
manufacturer's
yep,
resources,
exactly.
it's kind of
and-
that follow through in.
Well, AP College Board provides a significant amount of resources for teachers on their website. There's a ton of AP teachers groups. There's a ton of availability. The other piece is when you are teaching AP course, you have to write a syllabus that gets submitted to AP or gets submitted to College Board. They have to approve it. You have to have gone through one of the prep courses so that you understand the curriculum and the material and how to roll that out. So there's a good, even if this particular text doesn't have, let's say this was a college text and there's not a lot of materials, there's other materials that are, especially with history, because you're really looking at primary source.
Is this text already being used in the classroom?
Yes, it is. So
Supplemental.
Okay, so
Yeah.
aren't
Yeah.
we kind of doing this backwards?
It was approved
Sure.
as a supplemental text. It was not approved as the main text.
Okay.
So in the past, we've approved this text as a supplemental text,
Okay,
but not the main text for the course.
okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
It's a lot of talk, a lot of conversation on this, but I guess my question is, we would also have the option too of just approving a curriculum that allowed an AP curriculum in this case that allowed for a preferred text or a secondary text or primary text being this. So I guess my question is, for all textbooks, does Verona do all their textbooks as a separate resolution to approve, or we would do through the curriculum?
We generally do a separate resolution. If board monies is being spent, they should be a separate resolution. Sometimes we'll do it as an addendum. If we're approving several in a row, it'll be an addendum with the spreadsheet. But that was one thing that I noticed that we're not doing. That's best practices, even with our classroom libraries. We
Mhm.
should, if the board is spending money on classroom libraries, we should be having those approved. If the SCA is spending money on the classroom libraries, we don't necessarily have to have those textbooks or those ancillary materials approved, but we should be approving them if the board is expending money.
I should probably know that. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so can we have a roll call for?
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Prisco,
Yes,
Mrs. Rosella, Mrs. Ferrara, and Mrs. Freshy. We have quorum. Motion moved. Thank you.
thank you. Now on to special education. Can I please get a motion to approve resolutions number 1.1 to 1.4?
Motion to accept.
Accepted by Mrs. Freshy, seconded by
Second?
Mrs. Ferrara. Any discussion? Mr. Cruz, can you please call a roll call?
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Prisco,
Yes,
Mrs. Rosella,
Yes,
Mrs. Farrar, Mrs. Freshy.
Yes.
We have quorum. Motion moved.
thank you. On to athletics and co-curricular. I need a motion to approve resolutions number 1.1 through 1.2. Need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mrs. Freshy, seconded by
second,
Mrs.
Mrs.
Rosella.
Rosell. Any discussion? Mr. Cruz, can I have a roll call?
Mr. Walker,
Yes. Yes.
Mrs. Prisco,
Yes.
Mrs. Rosella, Mrs. Farrar,
Yes.
Mrs. Freshy.
Yes.
We have quorum. Motion moved.
So I have a quick question, since this is my first time in the presidency. Am I able to do a motion or a second, or I just say it? I can second. Okay, I'm just trying.
I'm gonna get you the Robert's Rules of Order, but it's a good read.
Okay, on to our finance. I need a motion to approve resolution 1 through 4.
Motion to approve resolutions 1 through 4 under
Motion
finance.
by Mrs. Freshy, seconded by
Second.
Mrs. Farrar. Thank you. Any discussions?
So this is the bus we've been talking about for a while,
Mhm.
Jorge, and we're finally getting rid of it. Nice.
Thank you. Mr. Cruz, can you please call?
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Prisco,
Yes.
Mrs. Frizella,
Yes.
Mrs. Farrar, Mrs. Freshy.
Yes.
We have quorum, motion moved.
Thank you. And on to our public comments. If anyone has anything to, oh, where? Oh, it was, okay.
Oh, I didn't have that.
So it was it's an addendum? I didn't get that.
And you know what? I apologize. I didn't put it on as.
Okay, so, okay,
I'm not used to addendum.
okay. So I have a addendum to approve HIB.
The report that that I sent out or today.
Oh,
I
yeah,
guess.
the report
Yeah.
came out. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, just so that going forward, the HIB motion is on should be on every agenda because we are always approving either an investigation, a determination not to investigate, or a concluded investigation at some point. So they should be, and they have to be approved at the next board meeting after the investigation is concluded. So this should be a standing agenda. I'll let Mrs. Zaborski know.
Perfect.
so I need a motion to approve HIB report.
So moved.
And then second? I'll second that. Any discussion? Mr. Cruz, you can call a roll call.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Prisco,
Yes.
Mrs. Frizella,
Stain, I believe I know one of the children involved, so.
okay. Mrs. Farrar, Mrs. Freshy,
Yes.
we have quorum, motion moved. Thank you.
I'm
Oh,
sorry,
special items, okay.
geez, I'm getting used to this again. Before we move on, I know it's out of discussion, but would that normally be in the public session or a confidential session moving forward? The HIB report approval.
The HIB report is
It's
confidential.
confidential, but
Yeah.
with the approval
The
would
approval is
be-
always public.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
So the way it works, Reese, is a parent does not have the opportunity, or student for that matter, to appeal the decision until the board approves it or accepts it, not even approves it, accepts it or doesn't accept it. And so we have to do them quickly. So it gives parents an opportunity to come before the board and appeal a decision that's been made.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we can open up to public comment. If anyone has anything to say, please come to the podium. Please state your name and address. We have a 3-minute limit too.
I better talk fast. Hi, Christine McGrath, 57 Fairway Avenue. Wow, I'm not used to being on this side of things. I just want to congratulate this new Board of Education. I want to congratulate Ms. Denise Rosella and Diana Ferreira for winning their elections and now being on the Board of Ed. And I would congratulate Pam for her role as Board President and Diana as VP. Really exciting for the Town Council and the Board of Ed to collaborate in the future. I look forward to working with all of you. And I also just want to thank outgoing President Lisa Freshy for all of her commitment to her leadership position. Thank you so much. How many years was it exactly as Board President?
4 as president and 2 as vice president.
Okay, amazing.
So I'm like,
Well, thank you so much for all of your service to our
welcome.
community in those roles. And I look forward to working with all of you in the future. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much for those comments. And also thank you for bringing up Mrs. Freshy about being outgoing president, because thank you for all your time and dedication and service for all the years, not only as a board member, but as president, vice president, and also attending all the meetings and everything for the county level and state level. So thank you for all your time.
You're
throughout,
welcome.
and it'll
And
be
thank you
great.
for taking the baton toss.
Yeah, thanks.
And I'm always available.
Thank
to
you
answer
very
any
much.
questions. Thanks.
want to make a comment. I'm going to be like Mrs. McGrath and see what it's like on this side, but.
Excuse
Jim
me, sir, can
Day-
we, okay, thank you.
Jim Day, 8 Windermere, President Prisco. I just want to say congratulations on selling the bus finally, because I think that's the most important thing going on in the district right now, but that's very important. But I also want to congratulate the new members, Mrs. Rosella and Mrs. Ferrara, for taking a chance, running for the board. It's, putting your name in the ring and going for it. And, I did it, 9 years ago, and it was a great thing. And I'm glad I did it. And I mentioned before to Ms. Rosella that the key is when you join the board, you want to leave the board in better shape than when you got there, right? So you're going to have some challenges. You're going to sometimes bang yourself in the head, but it's like any relationship. I look at it as a roller coaster, up and down. You're going to have a lot more ups and downs. And, you think about every day, you're here to help the students, help the district, do what's right. And I know you guys will. And congratulations to the new leadership. I seem like I'm sure anybody's surprised, but I think you guys do a wonderful job, and you guys have a great board here, and you have a great leader in Mrs. DiGiuseppe and Mr. Cruz, and you have a wonderful student leader that's giving some great reports. So I just want to thank everybody and Happy New Year. And I'll miss this Tuesday night, but now Tuesday night I'll probably be somewhere hanging out with my wife or getting takeout Tuesday or all the other kind of crazy
Little
things
dog.
that I couldn't do before. So, or I'll be hanging out with Pam's husband at the VI.
Go to trivia night
Yeah,
at
trivia
VI.
night. Yeah, there you go. So, but congrats, everybody.
Thank you very much, Mr. Day, for your comments. We're going to miss you up here too. You can come visit anytime you'd like.
Hi, good evening. My name is Laura Kohler. I live at 22 Valhalla Way. I just wanted to say I so appreciate being here with you this evening and getting to meet you. I have absolutely loved going through the interview process here, meeting members of the team, and I'm just so impressed by the work being done here in Verona. And I'm beyond grateful for the opportunity to join the team. I love supporting students with special needs and English language learners, and I'm just so thankful for this opportunity, and I greatly look forward to getting to know you more. So thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Kohler. I do want to take 1 minute and just say that it was a very full applicant pool for supervisor of special services, and Mrs. Simmons and Mrs. Venezia were both on the committee with me. We knew from the first round of interviews that we were most likely going to offer the position of Mrs. Kohler because she was such a standout. So welcome.
Congratulations again and welcome to Verona. So with that being said, our next meeting will be on January 24th here in the Verona Learning Commons at 7 p.m. It is 7:50. Can I please have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Freshy. I need a second. Second by Mrs. Frizella. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.